Imagine this. You awaken abruptly, heart racing, drenched in sweat from yet another dream that felt too real. You're back in childhood, vulnerable, powerless, confronted again by faces and voices you'd rather forget. You lie there, chest heaving, fighting an invisible enemy long gone but somehow ever present. And yet, despite your rational assurances, it's only a memory. It's just the past. You cannot shake the suffocating dread that someone, somewhere, might still reach out through time and harm you again. A paradox grips your mind. If the past is truly dead, why does it have such vivid power to hurt you now? If you believe yourself strong, healed, capable, why does a mere shadow of yesterday still terrify you in the dark? How is it possible that those who harmed you years ago continue to wield a hidden control, sabotaging your happiness, relationships, confidence, and peace? You whisper to yourself, a trembling assurance, "Nothing and nobody will ever hurt me again." But these words feel hollow, fragile. They do not comfort, they mock you. Because deep inside, you sense a truth more chilling than any physical threat, that the greatest tormentor, the cruelest enemy, is not out there. It lives inside your head, invisible and cunning. The worst wounds aren't from blows received, but from blows remembered, inflicted repeatedly by your own mind. Have you ever wondered why pain persists so stubbornly, even long after wounds have healed? Why your mind seems determined to replay your traumas, amplify your regrets, and project your fears endlessly into the future? Why is it that memories of suffering become stronger, clearer, more powerful over time, while joy, triumph, and love fade into dim recollections? This contradiction defies logic, and yet it's woven deeply into the fabric of our minds. We run hardest from what already happened, fight hardest against shadows long gone. The true paradox, though, is that the very act of avoiding pain ensures its persistence. Your attempts to bury, deny, or ignore what hurts most only feeds its power, like dark soil nourishing twisted roots. Could it be perhaps that in fleeing your pain, you give it eternal life? Carl Jung, one of psychology's most profound explorers, once dared to suggest something terrifying yet transformative. "Nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again," he promised, "not through strength, armor, or walls, but through confronting the very darkness that stalks you." Jung hinted that freedom from hurt doesn't lie in evasion, nor denial, but in radical embrace, in facing the hidden shadows you fear the most. Consider this unsettling truth. Perhaps your greatest strength isn't measured by how effectively you avoid suffering, but by how courageously you face it. Perhaps the peace you crave, the assurance that no one will ever hurt you again, can only emerge from a confrontation you've spent your entire life desperately avoiding. Are you brave enough, right now, to turn inward and face the real adversary? Not people, events, or memories, but your fear of pain itself. Are you prepared to question the comfort of your defenses, your reflexive avoidance, your lifelong insistence that certain doors remain forever closed? Because, here's the catch, you cannot defeat a shadow by turning your back. Shadows vanish only when you step into them. The question that haunts your restless nights, the question you must answer, is chillingly simple yet profoundly challenging. Will you remain a hostage to pain's memory, or are you ready to become the author of a new story? Hold on to this tension, this unsettling uncertainty, because in it lies a truth that will unravel everything you thought you knew about safety, power, and freedom. And as you stand here, poised on the edge of this revelation, you must realize something even more unsettling. Your entire understanding of hurt, healing, and protection is about to collapse and be rebuilt again. Are you ready for the hidden truth? Because once you see it, you can never unsee it. Your torment doesn't arise merely from experiences themselves, but from something more insidious and profound, the unconscious narratives woven deeply into your psyche. Pain and trauma don't simply vanish with the passing of time. They embed themselves in your subconscious, quietly influencing every aspect of your life, shaping perceptions and dictating reactions without your conscious consent. Carl Jung understood this intimately. He described this hidden mechanism as the shadow, the darker, unacknowledged part of ourselves, the repository of repressed fears, shameful memories, unacceptable desires, and buried pains. This shadow doesn't vanish just because you refuse to look at it. Instead, it festers, silently influencing your choices, shaping your identity, and sabotaging your efforts at peace and happiness. Nietzsche warned, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster." Your refusal to confront pain is not merely avoidance, it's a form of self-deception, turning you into the very thing you fear. You think you're protecting yourself, building walls to keep harm out, but those walls only imprison you further within your pain. By resisting confrontation with your inner darkness, you unintentionally empower it. Arthur Schopenhauer pointedly argued that human suffering is often self-inflicted, perpetuated by our ceaseless striving and relentless desire to avoid pain. He noted that our aversion to discomfort paradoxically ensures suffering endures indefinitely. What if, in attempting to outrun pain, you've unwittingly chained yourself to it forever? Consider Viktor Frankl's powerful insight from his experiences surviving concentration camps. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Frankl realized something deeply unsettling yet liberating. Pain and trauma lose their absolute power when meaning is extracted from them. This suggests your true enemy isn't past harm itself, but your ongoing refusal or inability to find meaning in your suffering. Your subconscious mind clings to trauma because it cannot integrate painful memories into a coherent, meaningful story. Instead, it replays trauma repeatedly, like a broken record, desperately seeking resolution. Yet, resolution can never come through avoidance. It emerges only when you consciously confront your pain, make sense of it, and integrate it into a broader understanding of your identity and purpose. Aldous Huxley captured it precisely. Experience is not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. Your hidden torment stems from the profound misperception that trauma permanently defines your identity. In reality, the meaning you assign to past pain dictates whether it enslaves or liberates you. Imagine, for a moment, that your suffering has a hidden purpose, not to hurt you endlessly, but to awaken something deep within you. Could the agony you felt, perhaps, serve as the crucible of a profound transformation? Herein lies your next great tension. What if embracing pain is the only true pathway to freedom? Because until you see the shadow clearly, you remain powerless against it, and your pain will forever remain in control. But once seen clearly, your shadow transforms from tormentor into teacher, guiding you toward a revelation that will permanently alter your reality. Are you prepared to uncover what lies on the other side of fear? Every day, without realizing it, you're quietly shaped by your hidden shadow. Its unseen influence seeps into your relationships, your ambitions, your daily decisions, even your sense of self-worth. The longer you resist confronting your buried wounds, the more distorted your reality becomes, warped by hidden biases and destructive beliefs operating beneath conscious awareness. Imagine moving through life as if wearing invisible lenses, distorting everything you see. Your past traumas act precisely as these lenses, coloring your perception, magnifying threats, obscuring opportunities, and twisting benign interactions into imagined attacks. You unconsciously mistrust kindness, fear intimacy, or sabotage your own success, all while mistakenly believing you are protecting yourself from future harm. Cognitive biases rooted deeply in trauma silently dictate your reactions, limiting your freedom. The negativity bias, hardwired into your neurology, ensures that you vividly recall pain and humiliation long after the actual event, while joy and fulfillment slip quickly into forgetfulness. Each minor rejection becomes a haunting echo of deeper past wounds. Each slight reinforces your sense of unworthiness. Neurologically, trauma leaves lasting imprints. Brain regions like the amygdala, the emotional sentinel, become hypersensitive, misfiring alarms at harmless triggers. The hippocampus, responsible for forming coherent memories, becomes fragmented by intense emotional distress, creating memory loops that replay pain endlessly. These neural scars imprison your mind within a self-constructed cage of perpetual anxiety, mistrust, and fear. Culturally, too, you're conditioned to bury pain rather than confront it directly. Society prizes stoicism, emotional toughness, and outward strength, mistakenly equating vulnerability with weakness. As a result, your hidden trauma festers, quietly eroding your mental health, relationships, and aspirations. This cultural avoidance reinforces a dangerous myth that pain left unspoken will eventually vanish on its own. But what if pain, left unexamined, grows stronger in silence? Unseen, unacknowledged trauma manifests as perpetual dissatisfaction, chronic stress, and inexplicable emotional outbursts. Relationships fracture under pressure from unresolved wounds. Careers stall as self-sabotage quietly derails progress. Dreams fade under a relentless internal critic that tells you you're unworthy of happiness or success. In reality, avoidance is the surest way to keep yourself enslaved. Each day spent running from your shadow is another day spent chained to past suffering, another day relinquishing control of your happiness to hidden fears. Yet, this very realization holds the key to liberation. As Jean-Paul Sartre insightfully remarked, freedom is what you do with what's been done to you. Real freedom isn't avoidance or denial, it's courageous confrontation. Only by bringing your shadow into the light, by recognizing and challenging these invisible distortions, can you finally reclaim agency over your own narrative. Imagine living unburdened by these unconscious chains, free to trust openly, love deeply, pursue dreams fearlessly. The unseen consequences of your hidden pain have robbed you of this possibility long enough. Now comes your most crucial choice. Will you continue living within these invisible walls? Or will you dare rebel against the hidden forces that have silently shaped your life? Because on the other side of confrontation lies a power you've never imagined possible, the power to redefine your entire reality. Are you ready for the rebellion that will finally set you free? You stand at the precipice of radical liberation, but to cross over demands something profoundly uncomfortable, confronting your deepest fears head-on. The act of rebellion required isn't external, it's internal, directed against the illusion of safety you've painstakingly constructed around your hidden wounds. Your greatest adversary is not the past trauma itself, but the belief that confronting it would somehow destroy you. Imagine breaking free by embracing precisely what you've spent your life desperately avoiding. Carl Jung famously wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." His words reveal an uncomfortable yet transformative truth. Healing doesn't arise from evading pain, but through intimately understanding and accepting it. The first act of rebellion is radical honesty. To dismantle your internal prisons, you must acknowledge exactly what you've been avoiding. Name your fears explicitly. Admit your vulnerabilities openly. Confront memories that terrify you, not to relive suffering, but to drain the hidden power they hold over you. Radical honesty transforms your relationship with pain, stripping trauma of its mystery, and thus its dominion. Next comes courageous vulnerability, a counterintuitive yet essential rebellion. Society taught you that vulnerability equals weakness. Yet consider those who've truly changed the world or overcome immense personal tragedy. Figures like Viktor Frankl, Nelson Mandela, or even everyday heroes who've bravely confronted their traumas openly. Their strength emerged directly from vulnerability, from the willingness to openly acknowledge their wounds, thereby transforming pain into purpose. This rebellion requires a revolutionary shift in mindset. You are not defined by what happened to you, but by how you choose to respond. Pain isn't your master. It's raw material for crafting a new, resilient identity. Nietzsche affirmed, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." By assigning meaning to your suffering, you reclaim power from trauma. You no longer run from your shadow. Instead, you engage it, shape it, and learn from it. But the ultimate rebellion is not merely to survive trauma, it's to thrive precisely because of it. Consider how your suffering might empower you uniquely. Empathy born from hardship, wisdom born from loss, strength born from vulnerability? What if your wounds become gateways to deeper connections, greater compassion, and unbreakable resilience? Imagine finally living without fear, fully accepting yourself, scars and all, no longer imprisoned by silent anxieties. This is rebellion in its truest form, reclaiming your agency by consciously choosing growth over comfort, courage over safety, authenticity over secrecy. This rebellion isn't easy, nor painless. It is, however, profoundly liberating. By confronting and integrating your shadow, you transform darkness into insight, wounds into wisdom, fear into fuel. Now, ask yourself again, are you ready to embrace this rebellion? To bravely dismantle your internal defenses, to finally reclaim your freedom from the hidden power of pain? Because once you do, your entire world shifts forever. You've reached the threshold of the ultimate revelation, one capable of redefining your entire relationship with pain, fear, and the very essence of self. Here, at the deepest level of insight, lies a truth as paradoxical as it is liberating. Nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again, because you realize the one who's been hurting you all along is yourself. This revelation is shocking, yet profoundly freeing. Pain is inevitable. Yes, trauma, unavoidable. But suffering, the ongoing, endless torment, is self-inflicted, sustained by your internal narrative. Carl Jung poignantly observed, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." In that insight lies a transformative power, the power to rewrite your personal mythology. The moment you accept that your pain's greatest tormentor has always been your own fear, your own avoidance, you become instantly free. You see clearly that memories hold no innate power over you. They derive their strength solely from your unwillingness to face them. Your true liberation begins precisely at the point you surrender the illusion of control, letting go of resistance and embracing reality as it is. Painful yet meaningful, harsh yet rich with purpose. Picture yourself standing unshackled, fearless not because threats no longer exist, but because your interpretation of threat has fundamentally changed. You no longer see hurt as a destructive force, but as an invitation to growth, healing, and profound self-awareness. Pain, instead of being a punishment, becomes a teacher. Trauma, rather than breaking you, becomes the crucible through which your deepest strength is forged. This is the ultimate paradox of Jung's revelation. To become truly invulnerable, you must embrace complete vulnerability. You must become so comfortable with the reality of pain that fear itself loses its grip entirely. Nothing and nobody can harm you, not because the world has changed, but because you've changed your relationship with hurt itself. Imagine a life in which fear no longer dictates your choices, a life where past wounds no longer haunt you, where your emotional scars serve not as reminders of weakness, but as badges of wisdom, resilience, and insight. What once bound you now sets you free. What once weakened you now empowers you profoundly. This truth is simple yet revolutionary. Your greatest enemy was always fear itself. Your greatest protector is awareness itself. Here, finally, lies your moment of clarity, your chance to reclaim everything you've lost to fear and avoidance. The cage door is wide open. All you must do is step out, knowing, fully and finally, that pain has no power over you beyond what you yourself grant it. Take this revelation deep into your heart and let it transform your very existence, because from now on, you understand clearly. You alone decide what your past means. You alone decide what your future holds. And once you truly grasp this, nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again. If this video touched you in any way, and even a small part of you feels more awake, type "I choose truth" in the comments. Let's build a community of people who aren't hiding behind strength but living through truth. And don't stop here. The next video goes even deeper. Your journey has just begun.